the second matchup of the day. Round of 12 playoffs. One match, you qualify to quarterfinals, one loss, and you're out. That's it. For us, we were in for a treat the first one. SKADE did a really solid performance against their opponents, but now it's a different idea. Endpoint versus GamerLegion.
And honestly, man, before we even got into it, we thought it was going to be a lot closer of a game, but it simply wasn't. Let's be honest. Wisla, they dropped the ball, and now it is time for us to watch Endpoint versus GamerLegion. Once again, two teams that are really, really close on paper, but in reality, who knows?
Yeah, and to point out, of course, the two, whoever wins this matchup will have to face up against Copenhagen Flames in the quarterfinals, which is a different endeavor, right?
Oh.
Copenhagen Flames,
Such
a difficult team to play up against, right? Major attendee and also really good performances there. Of course, haven't restored their former glory, but either way, we'll be looking at that matchup later on. We'll be looking at that tomorrow, but more importantly right now, we need to kind of figure out who will have the upper hand, right? Endpoint or GamerLegion, because at least regarding scorelines, at least regarding results, they seem very closely matched. I mean, you look at the SKADE rankings as well, right? It's number 25 and number 28 in the world competing against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's one big difference here, Pavlos. Honestly, I've seen a little bit of these teams recently, and while GamerLegion is theoretically on paper on a little better than Endpoint, at least as far as the rankings are concerned, that really hasn't culminated into actual wins on the server. I mean, if you look at the recent history, Endpoint had absolutely no problem beating Gentium, but then you saw GamerLegion actually fall to them, and then once again, when GamerLegion find themselves against good opposition, against Tier 1, Tier 2 opposition, they don't really ever scrape by with many victories. In fact, they had a recent loss to Eternal Fire as well, and the only recent wins have been against the likes of Eklund and EC Brugg. So, like, if you compare that to Endpoint haven't been dropping the ball just as much. Yes, they're still not on the level of somebody like maybe SKADE. In fact, they did have recent losses, but I do still think that Endpoint, their current form is looking a bit better. But for the most part, I do think we're looking at a case where both teams are a little bit weakened. I don't think Endpoint nor GamerLegion are really at the top of their game right now, because both of these teams have been succumbing to lower tier teams, and that simply shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I mean, Endpoint no longer have a majority British players. I mean, we kind of knew that for a while now, but it's still weird to see, considering how last year was all about, you know, being the British team out there. But ever since Smezzy left the team and they had to kind of scramble things up, they haven't really found their front foot, right? That's where they've kind of brought Boros in to find that replacement. Solid performances on him at the start, but it wasn't just enough to restore their former glory. It took them time to bounce back, and now they seem to be on the uprise. And that's coming in, of course, in November. But now we also need to talk about GamerLegion, right? Because they themselves, they haven't. I mean, we can consider this team as one of the greats here in Tier 2, but never really been able to cross that mark. And now they have an opportunity to play in these playoffs and actually compete against a lot of these teams. And talking to Heaton the other day, he seems to be holding GamerLegion to a high regard. He seems to be believing in this roster right now.
Yeah, and for good reason. They've got all the talent, they've got all the components that you would possibly need to make a lineup work. But honestly, the biggest problem has just been for them to get that big break. They've made it to that 25 mark, but they haven't really become the top dogs of Tier 2 at any point. In fact, their performances have always teetered to the point of having them sometimes lose to like these Tier 3 lower tier teams. But we are going to be heading into the veto to see how this one's going to roll out. Endpoint, first map, Vertigo being picked up. On the other hand, as they start to roll out now. Oh, sorry.
Okay? Everything's okay?
I just hit my monitor by accident, reaching for my mouth, trying to look for something.
Well, I'll let you know what the maps are. Vertigo, Mirage, and Ancient as a decider. We didn't get to see Ancient the last time around, but Vertigo first up, not too big of a fan of that, but Endpoint definitely will be happy with going with that. I mean, they find a lot of strength with getting victories on that map, getting them ahead in series. And Mirage, of course, a more peggy style here for GamerLegion to be brought out in that instance. Ancient and the decider. Any thoughts regarding this trio?
I mean, there's a good reason why Endpoint have picked up Vertigo. It's a map that they've always been super comfortable with, and I think the only map that they might have found more success on would be Ancient. So this really works out well for Endpoint, because these are two maps that they're incredibly comfortable with. But for GamerLegion, the one map that they have picked up, Mirage, that's one that they themselves have a massive advantage on, similar to the one that SKADE had when they themselves picked up Overpass. But now heading into the pistol round, it is 4 sets of Kevlar for GamerLegion, a set of a Diffuse Kit and a Smoke for Rusty, and on the other hand, we see a much more utility-heavy terrorist side already into a push.
Oh, GamerLegion playing very aggressive here on the CT side already, trying to gain some space, but Surreal single-handedly will be taking them down. No problem whatsoever. They want to make sure that he is no more, though, so that space can't be really taken up upon, but Endpoint will quickly wrap around here, right? Kind of taking control of the mid, Nuts quickly nestling himself in a position where he can catch off rotations, but the rest of them have moved up towards ramp. Error already making things happen. Nuts sneaking in actually towards that back line. It seems that GamerLegion have no clue. Maybe that's a quick kill into Rusty, and it is. Now he can be a big menace into the back line of GamerLegion right now, which means there's space for the rest of Endpoint to move in. Boros, quick catch onto Error. I Am is the only player left. We'll be catching out Nuts, but it's still a 1v2 for him to deal with.
This makes it a little easier for him to swallow. I Am 2 kills in the bag already, but no, there's a Boros waiting for him on the other end, and Endpoint get away with the first one. Now, talking a little bit about the lineup of Endpoint, I think one thing that really surprised me was how they're sort of playing around with Nerds, his ability to get that aggressive, and I'm a bit shocked that we already see that happen in the first round. It seems like even though Boros is generally the star player of the squad, we see that also we see Nurse often playing in that position where he's set up to get so many different kills simply because he's willing to take the initiative.
It seems that Endpoint want to amp up the pressure here by moving into the ramp straight away. Wanted to clear out the first angle as they walk forwards, crucial. Interested in going for a wallbang here. Error actually damaged up a little bit. Nade also chunking them down. GamerLegion very quickly rotating here. 4 players strong on the A side defense, to be fair. And it's a full stack up here from them, right? Deagles across.
They're happy to just fully gamble on the A side, and this can actually work out incredibly well for them. This Molotov doesn't do them any favors, of course, but here we go. Endpoint already in, and they've gotten 2 kills to start things off. Crucial gets a third one, and Era, there is not a chance you get too much off of this, buddy.
No, there's not much at all, right? Era, Isaac, the 2 players kind of remaining at the back of this. Crucial, he's running right after them. Enough of that. And considering they kind of went for a force here, this is going to set them back in their way, so Endpoint have a chance to kind of build up this tempo. Very nicely done. No survivors. Endpoint leave no one alive.
Already a pretty convincing start for Endpoint on Vertigo. Pistol round in the bag. Second round, no issues at all. Perfect use of utility to bait out anybody that might have been gambling on the ace site. They didn't really have too many issues getting those first 2 picks, which allowed them to comfortably deal with the gamble stack. And this particular round is going to have to be a throwaway one for GamerLegion. Now, one thing I've always really looked at when I'm looking at Endpoint is the dynamic between Boros and Nerds. And you don't really see Nurse being in that position where he's allowed to be the star player, but he's still managing to carve out spots for himself. I think the last time we casted them, I think Nurse was sticking out like a sore thumb with how many times he was willing to get aggressive. I believe I'm not sure which team they were playing against. Yeah, but I was watching a game of Mirage, and the fact that Nurse would always push into ramp, always push up middle, is an incredibly scary prospect, because then you consider that, okay, you got a crazy player like that one, but how do you deal with that when he's also got the support of Boros, who will then continue to be the star player?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic really to look at, and how you balance it is something that Endpoint have been struggling with, right? And slowly been kind of figuring out how they want to play with this roster, how they want to play with this 5-man, and slowly getting better as well, restoring the placement that they've already gotten to. But if we look at this round, we've kind of been sidestepping it due to the fact that it's just mere pistols against rifles, but they've already done quite a bit of damage. Eric's been spotted getting close by with a Zeus, but won't be any longer alive in this endeavor. Endpoint with 3, GamerLegion with none, but this buy round is where things start to get exciting.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that they get 3 rifles off of their hands. Just definitely a bit unorthodox. Before we head into the gun rounds, guys, be sure to check out our partners over at Pinnacle. The best place to be for all of your betting needs, tb.gg/Pinnacle for all of those little details. Or was it tb.gg/live?
Winter.
Sorry,
I think it's winter, I believe. Yeah, and Winter 22 is also a code you can you guys use for a short little bonus for you guys up on sign up. But let's have a look at this one. Ooh, Mighty Max survives it. Crucial gets a kill of his own. Endpoint are loving this right now. Error though has a bounce back opportunity and takes it. But what Endpoint do with this is a different matter. They've kind of sidestepped this and headed towards B.
Yeah, that's always historically been sort of a problem with with Vertigo, where it gets a bit one-dimensional with how you approach the game. And with how quickly you can have rotations, it can often be very difficult for the T side to keep somebody at bay, but look at where they're headed. Down to middle they go. Rusty's expecting a second one as well, and that's why someone like Heaton would have so much faith in GamerLegion. Rusty, nice little two-tap from him. And on to B they go desperately.
Now looking to move across here, Isaac. So far only defender, but the rest of them have come in very, very quickly. Endpoint in trouble. Era. That's the second kill he's got in this round, and the third tag in Turtle. Surreal, though, looking to hold on for a little bit longer. Up against 3 now. Not the easiest endeavor, but we'll try and make the most of it. Molly to the side. No one really going to be affected by that, and slowly Rusty will consider the idea of falling to the back line of this. Damaged up. Bomb nowhere to be found. Surreal has to back away. Trouble. Error. Wide out. Into the open. Will get caught. Now, Surreal isn't going for the bomb. He's not going for the round win, but he might as well run away with some further damage. Zero shuts him down, though. GamerLegion on the board.
Really good from GamerLegion to immediately bring it back, not allowing them to ball out of control as far as rounds off of the pistol round are concerned. Sure, they get that traditional 3-round lead that you do get off of the pistol, but nothing more off of that. And you can see that that round basically comes down to this particular player we're watching right now from Rusty, because generally Endpoint are expecting the rotations to come in through middle and they're trying to intercept them. No, instead Rusty tries to be super proactive with how he wants to take it, and he's willing to get aggressive.
So Iron's also getting very aggressive. Look at this. He's heard all the commotion. They know about the movement from it, so he's still being a caveat in the mix, but it seems like they're wary of it. They've got a player placed in position. Area doesn't connect the first shot. He's able to connect the second one, though. Mighty Max not giving him an opportunity to get the third one. Iron peeks out this one kill, but it's traded right back out. Endpoint through that fight, get the upper hand, and now moving in towards that A site.
Isaac and Rusty, they're going to have a big task ahead of themselves. Rusty has carried the team in the previous round, but is he willing to do it again? On the other hand, Isaac's not even close to be found. Rusty is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting all by himself. Jumps up on the box. Nice way to start things off with a headshot, but it comes down to a 1 versus 2. Isaac, you've got to pull some heavy load.
Oh, yes, you do. Bomb being planted ahead, Isaac. Inching forwards. Endpoint. Oh, dear. For the cross, not even ready to do damage. Incendiary to the backside. Oh, exposed to the elements. Mighty Max no more. Swift off his feet. Isaac will be touching the bomb. Goes for the reload. Has that been heard by Surreal? Goes to the side of that smoke, and it's quick enough to shut down GamerLegion. Got very close. Valiant effort, but it's not good enough. Endpoint take the lead.
I'm a bit surprised that Endpoint ended up taking that round, because Surreal shouldn't have been able... Surreal shouldn't have been able to catch that particular angle. But I think because of the reload sound, he expected the reposition, and that's why he was waiting for the jump on top. But regardless, GamerLegion, they brought it very close, which is why Endpoint's economy will always be under threat. GamerLegion, on the other end, they themselves aren't feeling too good about their wallets. They've got $2,000 apiece. They're saving up for rainy days. But right now, this downpour should be able to consume them. Endpoint onto the B site. They've been spotted. A couple heads have been shown, and this should be where the rotation starts to come in.
Ooh, okay. Well, one head gets ripped apart, and seems they want more of this damage. Surreal will think twice before pushing again, as he's damaged down to 33. I am also being a menace on ramp. But Endpoint, as soon as they fail to infiltrate the B site, switch up their mind, and now on a different front. GamerLegion have rotated. Arrows close by, but the 5-7 could spray it down, but no. Denied. And now Endpoint have a chance. They can just move in here. Doesn't seem like it'll be too problematic. They also have the utility to take this onwards. I'm also quite low, so it'll be shut down. Endpoint, yeah, full control. It's just a matter of finding the damage here. Zera's actually very, very close to this. Mighty Max there to save his teammates' lives. And Rusty will fall straight after. Endpoint with 5, GamerLegion with 1.
right now, a lot of the characteristics that we would normally see from the squad of Endpoint aren't really exhibiting themselves on the server right now, simply because they're playing as a unit. They haven't really been playing too spread apart. They're kind of all playing the same role, with the exception of maybe just one player playing the entry. And their kill distribution also shows it. Maybe with the exception of Nurse, everybody's been getting about the same kills. Everybody's sort of doing the same role, contributing to that T-side inevitable push. But on the side of GamerLegion, you can see they've got many different tasks that unfortunately none of them are able to line up. But look at where Endpoint is headed. They're already onto the B site with no response already.
Oh, there you have it. 4 against 4 in this endeavor. The trades have come forward. Zero's there to pincer them in, though. You can't run, you can't hide. You have to take the fight, and it just took too long. A 2-on-3 now in favor of the GamerLegion side, with a bomb out into the open. Mighty Max knows what he needs to go for. The bomb not quite challenged just yet, but Zero, as soon as the smoke will dissipate, will definitely want to join in that fray. Surreal, making sure that Zero isn't having too much fun without him. The bomb is found, but Surreal's got a big task ahead of him up against 2.
Yeah, you've only got 42 points of health, can only get away with getting shot with 1 bullet. That's the only budget you've got, and now you've been spotted as well.
To the side. Oh, Era's just quicker to the swing. And no chance handed over to Surreal. There's Endpoint. The streak is over. GamerLegion want a piece of this.
You can finally see them step up. 1 kill being caught up on the rotation. All of that round really comes down to Zero playing that masterfully. Coming in on the rotation, cutting them off, and a bit of an oversight by Endpoint as well to not smoke out the angle, because they know they're going in high and dry. Of course, there's going to be a rotation that immediately comes in, or the mid player is going to be around to help out. But ultimately, it came down to Zero just being an absolute stud individually. Back to the weapons though, Endpoint, they're going to have no trouble having money for their next endeavors. GamerLegion, on the other hand, they feel a lot more bolstered. Era on the AWP, everybody else has got rifles as well. Rusty wants to push right in.
Ooh, that he does. Mighty Max though says, where are you heading to? This is not a park. You can't just walk in here. Although they've traded quite equally here with the heavy ramp dedication from GamerLegion. One is stuck behind. I am still alive. He's called for reinforcements by Era. Mighty Max going for the wallbang here and has heavily damaged him up. Now has to switch up the position onto the side swing. Mighty Max catches him. Very nicely done. Endpoint with the advantage.
Yeah, even when oh, Isaac, your elbow's been spotted out. The information must be perfect.
Oh, okay.
Because now the T's know where they're headed.
Surreal picks it up. Era to the side. Can he find it? AWP, he needs to be very accurate, can't miss once. Endpoint, yeah, there's no way they peek it. Right? Well, when they do, they actually are very quick to find ahead of Era. And Endpoint, they may drop a round, but they're straight back in it.
6-2, Endpoint, they are looking so convincing right now. GamerLegion, I think one of the biggest problems here is that GamerLegion, unless they're able to consistently chain together rounds, their money will always be something that comes back to bite them. And there's a good reason why they take that time out. They need that breather. They want to figure out, okay, what's going wrong? Because Endpoint, it's not like they've been playing this in a particularly confusing way. They've had sort of the same strategy throughout. Contest ramp, if we get kills here, then we play off of that. If we don't, we head over towards middle or B. That's basically been the formula. But on the side of GamerLegion, we're seeing them lose out a lot of aim duels uncharacteristically, because if you're playing that top angle from ramp, if you're the one that has control of smokes, there's no reason you should be coming out on the short end of the stick on most of these duels, but they still are.
Endpoint are showing us why they've been so resilient on the T side of Vertigo for so long, right? Why they've been choosing this map and why this has sort of guaranteed them a lot of series win in these closes, right? Having a very early map advantage. Very nicely done so far, and it seems like they want to take it even further, considering GamerLegion have got nothing much to work with. Speaking of the devil, though, Rusty now has something to work with. He's found an AK, and this could be more complicated than what Endpoint anticipated.
All right, 1 AK tucked in the bag. You've got a nice little boost to work off of as well, and that's the boost they're not willing to check just yet.
No.
Okay, IM has got things kicking. Zero adds one more zero to the tally, and now it's Mighty Max and Boros out to fend for themselves.
They cannot if you have rifles. They cannot if you are favorites to take this round. They'll just take those pistols and put them to good use. 2 kills for IM, 2 kills for Rusty, and the rest of them just have fun around it as well. GamerLegion find their way back in by winning a Deagle round.
I'm not sure what they took during that timeout, but it worked. And now Endpoint, they're going to be struggling a little bit. They've allowed the money to fall over. A couple Galils on them, a few Tech 9s here and there, playing it very aggressively over towards B. But no, they're going to back off because Rusty, he's given away the audio cue. He's close by. On the other end, ramp is also down under lock and key. So GamerLegion basically have everything covered in terms of all fronts. They've got ramp, they've got the B site. They're pushed aggressively on B, so there's very little places that Endpoint can go to, but there it is, the first opening.
What on earth is going on? The pistol's actually doing quite a bit, but IM is having none of it. Crucial is looking to find the trades in, and it's already a 3-on-3. Jules at the pistol, though. As Nuts was very low, it's a simple cleanup there from Crucial, but he's still close by, right? Already jumping up onto that sandbag. Surreal looking to throw in the smokes to the back end. An aid available, rifles across the board, and there you have it. Now they've equalized 2v2, but they are very low, right? Isaac with a nade, a very important one, can just wait for the plant. And that should be enough to swift one player off their feet. Yeah, there you go. Goodbye. Oh, that hurts. Surreal's all that is left. Careful behind you, though. Look. There's a backstab coming. Needs to be quick. He's got an AK. Rusty behind him. Deals with him quickly. GamerLegion with 4. Endpoint with 6. The gap is somewhat closed.
You say somewhat closed, I say basically it's an equal scoreline because now the money's not going to be available, and then you see GamerLegion also being in a position to buy up an AWP in the next round. So at the very least, the weaponry will be heavily favorable for GamerLegion, which allows them to be set up to equalize the numbers eventually. And now they're getting something right. So one thing that GamerLegion were doing before was playing ramp a little passively, and they were unwilling to go for these proactive plays that they're now willing to go for. So you see that stylistic change happen both on the B site and towards A ramp. Playing ramp super close with smokes up, with utility up, playing that double angle, and for B they're pushing up.
Well, Endpoint need a play out of the playbook of GamerLegion to make these pistols work, but it seems they won't be able to do so. Zero Rusty will get the job done. And as he said, yeah, it's actually basically close at this point. The Pinnacle odds still depict that Endpoint are the favorites of this matchup in general. teb.gg/winter is the place to go to bet on them. But my word, it's quite an interesting endeavor looking at this.
You can see that Endpoint, now they're feeling a little lost, and partially, of course, partially that is, of course, because of their economy not really going their way. But now you can see them fall apart. As soon as GamerLegion have turned up the numbers with regards to proactive plays over towards the B and A site, you're not seeing much of a response. Okay, Mighty Max starts things off. Mid control needs to be the name of the game here, but Endpoint back off. All they needed to do was show presence. What's the game plan from here?
Take a step back. IM, though, doesn't really give them the space to do that. Easing up, looking for that early info. And he's actually without any reinforcements here. Deep smoke coming in for GamerLegion and keep them back for just a little bit longer. Oh, that's some damage onto Crucial. Softened up. Boosterino coming through, and Boros has found an opening. Mighty Max want to make sure he can use that opportunity, but Zero's found his way onto the backside. 3 kills for Zero. Looking for the Quadra. It's just mere damage in Mighty Max, but IM is there to clean it up. Zero, your backstab have been immense this game.
One of the parallels I can draw in between these two squads is that Nerds and Zero play a very similar role. Nerds is often tasked with the responsibility of playing that lurker position or going for these nasty flanks, but right now only one of them is finding success. It's Zero that is being an absolutely crazy machine on these flanks. On the other hand, Nurse needs to heavily step up if he wants his squad to succeed. From 6-1, or was it 5-1, I believe? GamerLegion have brought it all together. Now it's time to put a little bow on it. This is Endpoint's map pick, which makes things even more threatening.
Ouchie. It all started so well for Endpoint. It all started so well. That flash will catch Air off guard, and Iron will have to drop. Those 2 rifles can be collected, but Zero, if he moves in quick enough, Hack can do a lot of damage. The nade also splashes them down. Ever so easier now to be cleaned up. Surreal has to drop. Zero might be doing this single-handedly if he's given the chance, but there's just too many players shooting right at him. Rusty not giving them space to breathe, but I think he's doing all the job that is necessary, taking the fight to Endpoint. 7-6. GamerLegion, for the first time in the series, have got the lead.
That was super risky from GamerLegion because they actually continually went for these individual duels because they thought there was going to be enough damage being done, and because they have pistols, it's going to be an easy fight back. But Endpoint actually almost made their way back into the round. If it wasn't for Rusty and Zero cleaning things up there at the end, it would have been a case of them just falling apart. Yeah, no, it was Isaac, not Zero, but regardless. GamerLegion once again going for a timeout, and I like this, you know? Teams that are willing to go for a timeout even when it's looking a little sunny out, just to make sure you've got all of your strategy in order. I like that room. There's a couple cute decorations in there.
The attention to detail sometimes for us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it was a nice thing. Either way, but GamerLegion must be pretty happy about that, but generally they're looking pretty chill. Comms going all across the board seem like discussions allowing them to kind of read that information early, but Endpoint are switching up the tempo completely, looking to rush back. Last time they tried this, they had Tech 9s, and it didn't really go too far, but they get one, and they back out. 4v5. I am smoked off, Mighty Max. There you go, crucial! Bullet to the head after bullet to the head. It was across the wall, but he makes it happen eventually. Endpoint start things off strong for GamerLegion in a tough spot. Well, not really. I think Endpoint are the ones in the tough spot. 3 kills to 0. Wants to keep it going. Nerds all to himself. But they do exchange positions with 0. Oh, okay. There goes a leg. Nerds, though, very quick to react on that one. And now with an opportunity. Oh, does he check his left side in time? He does not. An error with a bullet to the head puts an end to Nerds and puts an end to Endpoint's hopes of being ahead at half-time. 8-6 in favor of GamerLegion right now, and the odds are getting ever closer. Endpoint at this point. Yeah, that was no pun intended right there. No pun intended. But, yeah, they're in a really rough spot, as you said, for us. And considering this is their own map pick, I mean, not exactly what they would have wanted from the start. But if they want to have a great opportunity of closing the gap earlier, they need this round, and IM is just not giving them control. Ramp has been GamerLegion's domain for so long. Endpoint have been trying to switch things up here, but Rusty will be ready for it, and so is Zero. Crossfire setup just too down strong. Endpoint, I'm afraid that you have to back away. There's nowhere to go. No control of the bomb. IM finds himself into the back line, shutting down Nerds. This is just disgusting on the side of GamerLegion. Endpoint, no chances given over. GamerLegion 9-6. Really good way of coming back from this start of the game. Really good resurgence.
A little surprised that GamerLegion can make it that convincing, all things considered. Endpoint now, they've got the pressure on them. It's their own map pick. You've got to do some monstrous stuff on the CT side. And personally, I'm really excited to see how the dynamic between Nurse and Boros works. Of course, all eyes are also going to be on Crucial because he's got to hit those AWP shots when that green weapon falls into his hands eventually. But there's quite a few things that can go right or perhaps wrong if you're looking at it from the individuals of Endpoint. But GamerLegion, set up and ready to eventually hit ramp. They've got 3 forces to contend with.
It's just a stack up here. Just waiting for the right moment to move in. Endpoint not quite seizing the opportunity to swing by and gain this info.
Yeah, they've already telegraphed it, haven't they? Nerds wants to take this fight, and GamerLegion not willing to commit just yet means that all the information in the world has been telegraphed.
Yeah, they've even spotted 3 players, so they know what they're getting into, but they still want to commit to it either way, and that's going to be costly because all of a sudden they have to drop. Somehow Isaac gets the end of nuts, so it's 3v3, and GamerLegion don't want to stop. They actually move in forward, smoke to the back of the site as they try to block them off. Crucial, down to 9 points of health. Mighty Max on top, not connecting the headshots, and allows them to walk in. The bomb can be planted, a 3-on-3 retake. What do you do? Onto the backside ramp. Under the control of GamerLegion, but Endpoint are focusing on site, touching the bomb, putting pressure onto their players. Now the info's been given over. They're no longer defusing it. Crucial. Getting the trade, but it needs to be touched again. Otherwise, GamerLegion are not going to peek this. But it's not. It's costing them. They're low on health, they're low on damage, and they're low on players. They run out of every single one of them. GamerLegion on double digits. A pistol goes their way and says no to Endpoint's chance of getting back into this one. If you guys are wondering why Faraz hasn't been speaking for that much, it's due to the fact that there seems to be some issues with the portal we're using to broadcast our voices. But everything will be okay. He'll be joining us shortly. It's just some little glitches here and there that aren't letting us do our job 100% properly, but it's fine. It's not all fine for Endpoint though, that's for sure. And they go for the force up again, right? Very reminiscent to what happened in after the first pistol. GamerLegion, considering the idea of a boost here, Boris is there to retrieve it. This young man showing his talent. Talent all over again. But the spray down to pre-fire that position, that is just dirty. GamerLegion just walking in as if place was their own from the start. They're owning it. They really are. This space is just being granted over. Endpoint, just get handed in. Okay, GamerLegion, we have to respect that. Error also on a wraparound. Oh, okay, the timing could be wrong. And Surreal could be finding a knife here. Ooh. Oh, no! 4x3! 4x3 and Martin check him out. Okay, flawless round by GamerLegion. Calm down here. It seems like GamerLegion want to be running away with Endpoint's map pick. Who would have thought? And Pinnacle odds completely fall into their favor.
Alright, things are starting to line up again for me. Not sure how the game is going, but it seems like I'm back here. But Pablo, just to distribute some of the bad luck, do you have a ladder around that you can walk under, maybe a crack you can step on?
Not really.
Yeah, maybe do one of those things. Bring some bad luck to yourself, so leave off of me.
Ah, okay. Maybe I should go break my mirror.
I mean, don't you have the urge to do that anyway in the morning?
No, I don't. Sometimes I do, but that's you're not feeling too great. But hasn't been.
Sorry for bringing it up. I'm just bullying a little.
Yeah, bringing up the demons. I am though close by. GamerLegion should have the better of this one though for us, right? I mean, there's not much you could do, and considering the streak from GamerLegion all begun from a pistol round of Endpoint going, well, a pistol round of them, of themselves going very right. They're not really going to permit the same for Endpoint.
One thing that's really scary if you're a fan of Endpoint right now is that historically they haven't really been amazing on Mirage because of Crucial's inability to play it super dynamically like a lot of aggressive operas do. And that's something you need on Mirage. You need a lot of info, you need a lot of mid picks, you need B apartments to be down under lock and key sometimes. And when you head on over to that second map, if Endpoint cannot close it out right now, heading to the third map, playing Mirage will be a very difficult affair.
Then it will. Deep control here from GamerLegion, at least that's what they're looking for. Man, that second round to this half, shooting down Boros through those through that wooden wall there. That's still just playing through my head all over again. They've really disrespected Endpoint at this point. They came in prepped. They came wary of how Endpoint like to play this and have come in with some mini anti-strats, and I do truly like this, especially if you want to put them in as one of the good runners in the playoffs right now, and wanting to face up against Copenhagen Flames in the quarters is what they're looking at. But Endpoint so far, at least this round, have got the advantage.
Yeah, initial pick has been picked up. And there is quite a bit of HP missing on Isaac and Rusty, and that wouldn't really matter too much, but they are within one-shot territory of that A1S. Makes this duel particularly difficult, and Nurse wants to play it aggressive, waits for the flashbang to swing out, now they know, but he's got a lot of information as well, which allows them to call in early rotations if they do choose to do just that. Couple Molotovs available, so Sandbag will be mollied out. Mighty Max, he needs to watch out for it, steps out, but there's nobody waiting to catch him.
Ooh, Mighty Max, he recovers in time, therefore Endpoint get at the better end of these trades. Error looks to put him back into the game, but has the damage already been done? I mean, there's 10 seconds remaining. They just have to back away, save these rifles, because this round, finally, something goes in favor of Endpoint.
I really like Mighty Max's micro play there. It's that when he gets mollied off of sandbags, he realizes that nobody actually watches him walk out, which is why he actually continues to play that close angle, plays the off angle, because he realizes that they're going to peek sight instead of peeking straight into ramp, because reasonably so, there's no reason to directly look at the left side of sandbag. There's just no reason to look at that steel beam, but now GamerLegion. How quickly do they drop the ball, or Endpoint? Do they continue to convert?
Oh.
Mighty Max, really nice way to start things off. It's not the AWP that picks up the first one. It is instead Mighty Max's M4 that reigns supreme on this ramp.
Error should have picked that up, really, right? I mean, he had the right positioning, he was there in time, but just a little bit off the mark, which will cost them, right? Not traded, Endpoint, very comfortable, util for days, and GamerLegion have gained no space anywhere on the map.
Yeah, these two missed shots are going to come back to haunt GamerLegion. Those are two opportunities that you don't really get too often. Over above the smoke. Endpoint want to continue playing it this way. They want to play it close. I am already moving up. Does he get the drop on someone?
Yeah, he does. Nertz falls. Mighty Max out into the open, looking for the cover, but also looking for those heads. Zero, White swings it. Now Crucial with the AWP onto the back line here. Still, Incinerate delay at 45 seconds, but they're still looking to move in. Smoke will deter them for a little bit. Mollies as well won't allow them to stay on close proximity to this. It gives them some room to get the bomb down.
The slot that Crucial had to make himself relevant. I was about to criticize him for not getting the shot, but he gets one through the smoke. 3 versus 3. The CTs have a reasonable shot at doing this, but do they fully commit? Arrow watching the boost box ahead is Bay. Crucial drops down. HP lacking. Quick trade, but they still have to get the bomb away.
Oh, Surreal, keeping things close. Error connects the shot. Oh, does he? I wasn't quite sure how that looked right there, but Crucial is very, very low. Cleaned up by Iam. Error behind sandbag. Surreal knows where he needs to expect him from. He's just too smart. The bomb isn't stuck with. It touched once again and goes with a swing. Error composed as ever. Makes it look simple. And GamerLegion with 13. Endpoint streak put to the dirt.
That really all comes down to Endpoint not being able to hold down the first player, because they heavily relied on just, I believe it was, I think it was Mighty Max or Surreal playing up close. But regardless, just relying on that first player to surely be able to hold down ramp, that can't be good enough, because you've allowed everybody to creep up close. As soon as they get the first player off, there's nothing you can do. And on top of that, Crucial wasn't really able to connect too many shots. A really good conversion here.
I'm actually very aggressive here. Hello, that's a foot, and that's a player. That's just can't see under his nose. I guess it's too big.
Or on 4, GamerLegion want to step straight onto the A side, but there's already players on the other end.
more
And
like
Era catches one through the smoke, but now Surreal's position is known. It's on to Boros to do the heavy lifting. IEM desperately looking over the smoke. Can he peep on one? There it is. First one's been spotted. Boros equalizes the numbers once again, but Endpoint, they've got the disadvantage.
It's still a 2-on-2 though for us. I mean, look at this. Era, he stepped up this round. First kill goes his way, and so does this one. Boros no longer. Mighty Max in the smoke, desperately trying to weave his way back into this round, but GamerLegion have backed out of it. Moving away from ramp. More likely, they'll go towards
He's gonna
B.
know.
Yeah, he's finding this out, but it'll
that
be
a foot?
too late. That is a foot. That is a random of a body being hung upside down. I think he also finds it quite amusing. Look at that. Just like a star. You know how you do an angel in the snow as well?
Yes.
Yeah. That's comedic.
Corpse Angels.
Corpse angels. Oh. Ooh.
And not as lighthearted and fun.
Yeah, no, not at all. But still, Mighty Max's round right here is not lighthearted at this point, right? So much gravity on him getting this win, putting Endpoint back into the game.
GamerLegion are just so quick, so close to getting the
That
dub.
could be one free kill though.
Oh.
There you go. That's a head, but Isaac is there to support his teammate. He's got his back. Mighty Max gets thrown off the skyscraper. 14-7, double the amount of rounds that Endpoint have accumulated.
If you're looking at it from the perspective of Endpoint, none of your win conditions have actually been working out. You saw a couple important kills come out from Crucial. Yes, in his position, he was able to secure a double. But when you see the rest of the squad, Mighty Max, there have been cases where he stepped up, but it hasn't been consistent enough. One of the gimmicks that Nerds really likes to play with is aggression, and that's not been working out. Boros, I think his fragging has still been acceptable, but not to the standard that we've really come to expect from him. So all of the win conditions, it seems like they're deactivated right now for Endpoint, and GamerLegion, they will happily lap this up.
Should be a simple endeavor, but we've seen rounds with pistols gone wrong before, and it seems that this one hasn't started on the right foot here for GamerLegion. You have to entertain the idea of Endpoint getting a surprise victory.
Another pistol round?
You have to, at this
Think
point.
so?
Well, it's their only way back in, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, you don't want to be on match. You don't want to be a map point with barely any money to boot. I think even with their loss bonus, they should be able to get an op, but it'll be hard. And it may be a glass cannon scenario. Looking at GamerLegion's movement here, 50 seconds on the clock, and they don't have decisive control anywhere.
Nope.
And the farther the time ticks down, these pistols become even more potent.
Still looking at moving. That cheek grenade can be thrown right at his feet.
No, but he's got a smoke now.
Hides it off. Nade will come in just in time to do damage onto Rusty. Splash to 75. 0. Oh, there's a shoulder and there's a head. And simple as that. Doesn't look below him, which means an AK will fall into the hands of Boros. If there's anyone to salvage this round, it's got to be him. The one-man army in this instance will be no longer. Era. AWP at hand on the side swing, draws out the deagle, and it's just enough to shut down Crucial before he gets too close. Keeps him back. And Mighty Max, he does find a rifle. He does have a Kalashnikov, but he's got nothing else to work with.
And he wants to stay out of it. I think Mighty Max quickly realized that the only way they have an AWP available in the next round is if Mighty Max can save this AK-47, only have to worry about buying armor, and they can have extra money for the AWP. Regardless of who it ends up with, they're going to have a big task ahead of themselves. I mean, obviously, if they buy an op, it goes to Crucial here. But reasonably so, what can you really expect any singular player to do?
It's the final stance. This round, I mean, even if they win this, man, they need to go a long way, considering GamerLegion's performances so far to disrupt the pace of Endpoint. Being upstairs.
Yeah, the final showdown before it all crumbles, or before the start of a comeback. Rusty boosts up, has the off angle, but Surreal will deny any more shenanigans. A second player will fall as well. Endpoint. They've at least dished out the damage. How quickly can GamerLegion recover? Onto the B side they go. Surreal on the other end wants to play around the smoke. Gives up his spot. A flashbang to delay them. But there's so much damage that has been delivered onto the side of Endpoint.
Yeah, now they're given a chance to kind of move in, but instead they kind of back away from it. They've got IM in a very good position, but Endpoint have got everything locked. At this point, you need to unlock it with a kill, but Aero won't be able to do that. Surreal finds his head and rips it apart from his body. IM and Isaac. 2 up against 4. They have to take 2 apiece, and there comes the first. Surreal has to drop.
Oh.
That flash was perfect, and now they're finding in. They find an into the B site, and they get the bomb down. But Nurse, he's close by. Iron, does he read it quickly enough? He does. They've turned it around. They switch up the script. Crucial is all that remains with an AWP.
Nurse's flank failing was almost symbolic of what's been going on. Nothing's been working right for Endpoint. Every single win condition that they have under their arsenal, it's fallen flat. And now it's down to the AWP player to make something happen. A comeback. Could this be it? Could this be the first step? Will Crucial be the flag bearer?
Oh, no.
Doesn't connect the first shot, and that's going to be it. Already over 16-7. GamerLegion end it. They win out Endpoint's map pick, and it's time to go to map number 2. How is this one going to roll out? We're going to be back. Stay tuned in just a short while.
And we're back, everybody, with a matchup straight into a technical pause, apparently. But no, I mean, Endpoint didn't get a good start, but GamerLegion, the resurgence was marvelous. 16-7, and now the Pinnacle odds just put them on top when it comes to favorites in the series.
And that's for very good reason. GamerLegion, this is their own map pick, and they've already bested Endpoint on the first map. And it's not like that was a close game. It's not like it was GamerLegion having a bit of a comeback, a tug-of-war. No, it was super one-sided. It looked like GamerLegion had all of their chips right. None of the win conditions for Endpoint actually ended up turning up. We saw Crucial lacking out on the AWP kills. Nerds, with his aggression, with all those proactive plays, none of them seemed to be working out. Mighty Max seemed to be on the short end of the stick so many of the times. Boros, oftentimes you would not really see him in that star player potential, not really lining up the kills like we're used to seeing the man doing. And Surreal, on the other hand, I think his performance was actually quite acceptable, but it's simply not enough wheels on the wheelbarrow to get that round, get that map going. There's a good reason why we, even as casters, I think would be a little biased towards GamerLegion now, because they've proven to us that they've gotten all their homework done.
Mm-hmm. And this is a map pick. This is the best scenario for him. And you guys are probably wondering, why isn't the game starting? It's not because we have a magical button as casters that we're not just pressing. Or maybe it is. You just will never know. But no, it's no, that states that Rusty is having some TeamSpeak lagging issues. So they're waiting for that to come under wrap. I mean, we've had that in the previous map before, but it was quickly resolved. So I expect it to be the same again. Now, we're looking at Mirage for us, right? We're looking at these two teams, Endpoint and GamerLegion. When GamerLegion picked this up, they're feeling it on the server. Endpoint have most to lose at this point. What should we look out for the most?
Well, Endpoint have to, as I've already mentioned, the win conditions, right? So Endpoint need to make sure that they're activated and they're actually kicking on all cylinders. It's not like they can have only Nerds pushing in and getting a few kills. It's not like they can have Boros just being that carry player and working out. Because with how comfortable GamerLegion is feeling right now, knowing that they're on their own map pick as well, Crucial needs to be hitting those shots. Boros needs to be a star player. Surreal needs to be a madman on the rifle. Every single cylinder needs to be firing like crazy. And on to the B-side, GamerLegion go, greeted by the first man who will be Mighty Max going for shallow little peaks.
Endpoint. I've read the information over. They've dedicated most of the players towards the A site, so Mighty Max is the only player defending the site so far. They look to push through. I am so accurate with that one. Just swings past, and the site is theirs at this point. Endpoint on the outside looking in.
It seems like GamerLegion have it under lock and key. Boros looking for something here, but with how close these angles are and with all the players available, it's just such a difficult spot to be in. Surreal telegraphs his spot, and I'm not sure why Isaac didn't get support there, but it doesn't even matter. Kill after kill starts to get lined up.
Ooh, Boros and Crucial actually bring things back here. I am onto the site looking to close it down, but no, Boros stands alive. 2 kills to his name and 2 more to go. Rusty, close by, knows that he has to deal with error first, and he's been able to do it. Jumps into the other side of the window, Boros. This could be a monster round for you. But runs out of time. There's no kit, no time. Does end up getting a quadra kill, this pistol, but I'm afraid it's just not good enough to get this win.
Oh, that has to hurt if you're Boros, right? I talked a little bit about Boros having to be a star player and that everybody else needs to be kicking as well. The former did. The former happened, but not the latter. Everybody else really looked quite lackluster there in the pistol round, not being able to hit their shots. Crucial got one, but that really didn't amount to too much. Endpoint, down to the pistols. They've got a FAMAS in the mix. They've got a scout rifle on Nerds. GamerLegion, on the other hand, it's not like their weaponry is unbeatable, so very respectable chance for Endpoint to do it again.
Mighty Max on first retrieval. Flash molly. Yeah, okay, I'm out of there. I don't want any of that. But I don't think he's given a choice, really, is he? Because Isaac just moves into him. He takes over his personal space. It looks like to take even further of it. I mean, Endpoint go for a force here. As soon as they drop this B site, seems that they'll be dropping the entire round because they sort of went for a gamble stack once again.
Bomb down.
Yeah, GamerLegion, of course, this has to be a very easy round for them. Endpoint, they do not want a piece of this. The worst outcome you can have is to try to not go for the retake, to try to save your weaponry and still not be able to voice your concerns in the next round, simply because you don't get a chance to. Exit frags seem to be the name of the game for GamerLegion. They know they're willing to waste these MAC 10s. And that's exactly what happens. The Famas is out, the Deagles are out, and Endpoint get nothing to show for it.
Absolutely nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Technical pause. No. No, not again. Oh, this hurts. But
yeah, it's fine because it gives me a little space to talk about GamerLegion, right? So a lot of our focus has been around what kind of conditions Endpoint need to have to be able to win. But this also innately tells us that GamerLegion is doing something right. So talking about that, I think structure-wise and individually, GamerLegion have everything down pat. If you look at the example of Vertigo particularly, Era, even though he was missing quite a few shots, just their structure allowed him to have that comfort, right? Because everybody else was fragging out, and he always had this insurance available even if he missed shots. So the trade frag potential is always available as far as GamerLegion is concerned, and they've allowed freedom to the likes of Zero to be able to carve out his own kills, which always keeps Endpoint guessing. So there's never really a set strategy. Even if they do go into a game, even if they do go into a round just basically throwing strats from spawn, it doesn't matter because they're always going to have that X factor, which is Zero, and he's not going to be playing according to plan. In fact, he's going to be playing on the opposite bomb site. I think Vertigo, though, what Vertigo inherently robs us of is the ability to see how mid-rounding is going to go, because it can often be very one-dimensional. You basically have either the option to go up ramp, or you can double down on B. And middle is often just very difficult to contest, simply because that's where the CT rotations come from. But it's going to be different on Mirage. You get a chance to see how mid-rounding goes for either of these teams, and that's probably a place where some of these conditions are going to thrive. We're definitely going to see Boros being able to play more comfortably, because he's not the kind of player that statically just frags out of his mind. He's more of the type of player that likes to create the chaos and then revel in it. He likes to play in those uncomfortable spots. On the other hand, you've also got nerds that can take advantage of a more mid-round heavy map. But of course, that being said, the silver lining for GamerLegion is that it's also similar for players like Zero and Isaac.
It's giving them a lot of space for sure. Just to inform everybody, the TeamSpeak issues seem to be persisting. Therefore, the time that this technical pause is taking place in, they are switching servers real quick, so the communication can be up to par where it is required. But I guess this also gives us time to talk about our lovely peripheral partner, Xtrafy, because we've been all the cards have been given headsets, and they've been great, absolutely enjoying them. And the peripherals in general seem to be top-notch, right? Swedish quality. And you guys can also get a chance to buy them over at Xtrafy.com at a 10% discount by using the code WINTER10. So if you don't take up on that opportunity, you're missing out.
Honestly, the best thing about Xtrafy headsets was that they finally gave you a headset, and I don't have to look at you in a pink headset anymore when we're having a casual conversation. Like that was the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. R.I.P. pink headset. If anybody remembers me casting in a pink headset, they are legends.
Mm-hmm.
That was an error.
Man, it is just. It's been a while since that.
It's been a long time.
That was OG Pavlos.
That's OG. Casting footsteps, Pavlos.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Not really sure what the holdup is now.
Still
we should be resolved with the we should be done with the TeamSpeak issues very soon. I can hear the ticks in the chat. The game should be ready to go. Utilities being bought up. I'm terrible at English.
Tied up.
Pavlos,
yes.
Technically English is your second language as well, right?
In a way. Yeah, I've got 2 mother tongues, but they both get switched up because I'm bilingual. So, yeah, I'd say... I mean, I have 2 first languages, but both of them get really tangled with each other, so...
Yeah, you've got 2 half languages, basically.
Essentially. Look at Endpoint's aggression, though. Yeah, we'll get caught by this. Things to be found. Looking for the closes. Boros actually finding some damage there. But the Acres can definitely be picked up. Mighty Max, all that is left. He'll soon be spotted here in jungle. We'll get shot down. Simple as that. GamerLegion, as soon as the tech pause is over, they start a round with a bang.
And now we've got a chance to see Endpoint at their maximum capacity. You've got an AWB in the hands of Crucial, M4s all across the board. So this is where we need to see those win conditions line up, man. Crucial's got to be hitting those crazy shots. I think Boros has already exhibited himself pulling his weight. Mighty Max and Nerds, so far, unavailable on the server. But the guns are going to change things significantly. On to mid-control they go. GamerLegion, they've got their eyes dead set on it. Endpoint aren't really willing to take mid-control, which denies them quite a bit of information. And this could come back to bite them.
Ooh, good line out there. Crucial. Couldn't quite connect the pieces, and GamerLegion actually insisting on holding this down. Not quite committing to the push just yet. But it definitely keeps Endpoint second guessing, right? Because ever since that first contact, they haven't showed themselves.
And because GamerLegion have such comfortable mid-control, they're always going to have to worry about the potential flank from IM. And he can easily cut off rotations, and Endpoint's rotations will be based on a whim, instead of just having factual information available. 60 seconds on the clock. GamerLegion now want to make a move. A Molotov to keep them at bay, but Mighty Max, he's not connecting anything. He's not sure yet, and that's why the rotations haven't been called.
Ooh, Isaac damaged up. Mighty Max, good shot onto Zero. Ooh, Mighty Max holds on even further. This is what Endpoint needed. Put your faith in Mighty Max.
A little unsure why GamerLegion are going for these plays one by one, and there's really no reason for GamerLegion to have 2 players in connector, especially when they can't actually contribute to the rest of the take on the B site.
A bit uncomfortable in those trades, that's certain. Even though IM finds his way in, quickly slowed down by Boros. Yeah, a bit of an uncomfortable push there from GamerLegion on either end. Endpoint will retrieve it and capitalize on their mistakes.
I'm really surprised that GamerLegion pivot into having 2 players in the connector, because that really didn't serve a purpose. Maybe if you had more attention towards the B site, or if you legitimately faked it rather than only sending 1 player out to die, that could have worked out. Because I really liked it when GamerLegion initially sent out a player, because that obviously signifies that this could potentially be a fake, and could call the rotations in. But then they just ended up sending all of their players one by one. That can't be good. Crucial. You're missing quite a few shots, buddy, and if they start lining up, I think Endpoint's fate will be a lot better.
This time around, Endpoint are quite challenging in this mid area, not really wanting GamerLegion to take it this freely. But Endpoint will have to slow the pace, because maintaining control in this area is very heavy on the utility. No sizable advantage handed over, right? No kill. No opening. Which means they're sort of now waiting for GamerLegion to make the next move. Ooh, Nerds realizes of their position. GamerLegion is starting to pull the trigger on this approach, right? Deep in mid. Also with a boost to come underway here in Nest, and it's been completely handed over. Look at Crucial. No longer controlling it. Now falling back towards Ticket Booth, while the rest of them moving in to the smoke. No, this could be terrible. This could be extremely good. It really could go either way, and it comes down to a flash, and both Nuts and Boros find their kills. Endpoint take charge of that round. Beautiful takeover. Zero desperately looking to bring GamerLegion relevant in the game, but error. An opportunity. Goes for the trigger discipline. This could be a beautiful kill. No one will be lining up for him. We'll go for the side swing onto short, but won't be able to find anything. Zero, though, opens things up. 2 kills to his name with a bomb to be collected. He can throw it down to the site now. He's ever so low, though. 1 bullet anywhere on his body could be the end of his life. 1 coming in for
flank
ramp.
makes it even more difficult.
Indeed it is. And I think he's not even wary to turns his back towards it. Surreal will shoot him down, face first, onto the ground, and Endpoint get their way back in. Excellent round by them.
Really good recovery from the squad of Endpoint. GamerLegion, they looked a little scary there for a second, but the way they were positioned, there was nothing that Era could actually do off of that spot. Sure, he gets up behind them, but trigger discipline doesn't really go a long way in that instance. Bringing the scoreline closer now, and with the economy threatened for GamerLegion, it's always going to be Endpoint in contention. One of the things I really like about Mirage as a second map is that regardless of whose pick it is, everybody's got a reasonable shot. You barely ever see one-sided games on Mirage, and that's sort of like a double-edged sword. You sometimes don't get to see who the decisive victor is, but you also get to see a close game, which just provides way more entertainment value. It should be a throwaway round, though. Oh, I say that, but there's a few sets of armor and a deagle in there. Can always be a recipe for a party, a low-budget one. But Mighty Max isn't bringing out the confetti. He is not happy with this idea. He wants to shut things down at 8 p.m. No parties to be had, no celebrations.
Yeah, Mighty Max will quickly clean this up. I mean, it's a piss around from GamerLegion. You don't really expect that much from them. But, I mean, there were some glory rounds of Deagles in Vertigo. So, you can't really count them out in any instance. But the Endpoint side has found that equalizer 3-3. This is a workable endeavor.
Endpoint really need to cement as many rounds as they can on the CT side, because the risk of playing a very close game is one that they really can't afford to have. One mistake on the CT side, it can spiral into them losing out on a lot of their money. But look at this. Rusty's already crept up on short, and that gives him such an angle to work with. And he also knows there's a second player stuck in connector. So Endpoint, they've already lost a player straight off the bat, and they know where this action could be headed. But GamerLegion are keeping it split up. One in ramp, a couple in apartments. Boros just mowing them down.
Wow, Endpoint have really seized control here. GamerLegion a little bit lost on how they want to be approaching these rounds, right? I mean, split their approach, their ramp entry, denied. And now Boros is getting a lot of space, a lot of information. And the rest of Endpoint are comfortable sticking around towards this B site. Mighty Max will peek again. That nade can do quite a bit. Lands in front of him, falls short of the mark. The good thing is that there's 1 minute to work with. The bad thing is that Boros is approaching the bomb.
He has way too much information. Yeah, Boros, I think since those first 2 kills, he just had way too much information to start with. And yeah,
Hello.
He's just gobbling them up.
Hello,
I'm
Isaac.
super happy to see Boros just performing out of his mind right now, because that's one of the things I had lined up as a condition for Endpoint to win out. And when that's coming to life, yeah, he's already gotten 4 kills, maybe even an ace.
Yeah, Boros really needs to be
The ace is coming to him.
a stepped up player here. There you go. Ace for Boros. GamerLegion shut down single-handedly. 1 man responsible for this one.
He's sitting on 14 kills right now. And that might come as a good sign if you're Endpoint, because you basically need anything you can right now to win. But there's too much pressure on the line now. If you have a couple rounds where Boros isn't playing too well, GamerLegion will immediately start pulling the rope back in their favor. GamerLegion back to their budget economy. Mighty Max, he's done this before. He is so familiar with this B-side push.
Oh, okay. Crucial. Yeah, it's going to be simple. No damage to be found. Unless I am... Come on, can you do something? Give us a spectacle. No, just too far of a distance. Just too much pressure. Endpoint, they've started to create a gap.
Probably a good slot for GamerLegion to take a timeout now, but
Oh, look at that. The odds are getting a lot more favorable for Endpoint, although they're not favored to win just yet. Now, my question is how GamerLegion play this map when they themselves have the CT side. Because, sure, Endpoint, they're dominating, whatever. I want to see how much that changes when the side switches. Because Boros, right now, he's getting free reign to move as he pleases. But when he's suffocated by the CT side approach of GamerLegion, that's when things are going to be a lot more different. But so far, because Boros is playing around Connector and A, it seems like GamerLegion doesn't even have a chance to get onto that bomb site simply because of how crisp his aim is looking.
GamerLegion. This round loss would be devastating for them, at least in the streak so far. Surreal taking charge of mid. Great an instantiation of this round, switching the tempo and making GamerLegion uncomfortable. Pre-firing the one-sided smoke there, and Nerds ends up dying to it. Rusty taking command, but Mighty Max wants a piece of this pie. He smells it from a mile away, but now can't quite deliver. Rusty is able to run away with his life, but Mighty Max needs to recover towards the B site as there's one player approaching, closely moving in. Isaac crossing forwards, he's also made his way towards bench, but Boros comes in time. GamerLegion have obfuscated their movement though. They're heading towards the A site. They faked it perfectly.
Endpoint, they're still going to be able to rotate though, and Boros is going to be there in time.
already?
He knows where they're coming through. Yup, they're not even allowed to exit Palace, and Boros is just dominant.
That's mad. He's everywhere on the map.
I think it's even less of a problem of Boros being everywhere on the map. It's more of a problem of GamerLegion always just getting funneled into Boros. Most of the time they've been hitting the A site, and when they completely abandon B, he's allowed to have free reign into going for a flank. Time and time again, Boros is just being given much space. GamerLegion, what are you guys going to do here? A few pistols on the squad. They've got some Kevlar. And I think some of the things I really wanted to see turn off from GamerLegion was maybe I am having more fragging potential on the T side. Zero showing us something a little unorthodox, but none of that is coming to light. I think Era can be given a pass right now because he doesn't have access to his favorite weapon. He also doesn't have access to just a CT side advantage, so I think criticism for Era can only come through when he starts playing on the CT side.
No, it's high command of mid. Mighty Max won't be directly contesting apartments. Instead, he was kind of approaching GamerLegion in a way that they'll have to drop into his arms. For good reason as well, if he's going to play together with Surreal in this instance. Fairly calculated from Endpoint. No reason to take any risks. Rusty did fancy that one. Starting to move in. This is where the shots will come through.
Yeah, Mighty Max just has his jaws wide open. He knows that this is a small school of fish that he can easily gobble up. GamerLegion now, we've got to see them chain together a few more rounds because it's still a very reasonable position to come back into. They can still actually win out on the half if they find themselves in a better position. But I think one of the things that is shining for Endpoint is a surprising resurgence in Mighty Max's capabilities because normally Mighty Max just playing around with the in-game leader spot, he's never really in the position to consistently frag out, and we're seeing that happen right now. But on this current round, he's got him the opener.
Ooh, crucial. Doesn't connect an important shot. But Rusty starts to move in. They switched up the positioning. They're actually moving into the catwalk side, and they've just distracted them towards Connector, blocking off rotations. Crucial is the only player nearby here, but that utility from GamerLegion will block them out. It seems a decision has already been made. GamerLegion will be taking this win.
They want to stay as far away as they can, but I'm not sure why. If I'm in their shoes right now, I'm looking at my $15,000 in Mighty Max's pockets, and I'm thinking, all right, let's just go for it. 3v5, it's good practice.
I think they're probably just trying to conserve the longevity of this half. If it does come down to it, if GamerLegion start lining up rounds, but the biggest thing that GamerLegion could have used to leverage Endpoint if they're having a good CT side was money. Now that's out of the window, so you're essentially looking at GamerLegion fighting an uphill battle where money is avalanching on top of their heads.
At least GamerLegion is starting to bring back some control, because that 7-round streak by Endpoint was very scary to look at. And if they want to have a chance in closing out 2-0 and put Ancient to the side and not really worry about that one, GamerLegion, this is their chance, because this half is not over, right? 7 rounds only for Endpoint, and 8-7 is still within the realms of possibility.
Oh, that's a perfect Molotov. There's no chance they come out of Palace unscathed. Nerds, from the grave, you will pull a leg down under.
Crucial. Also assisting, but I think it's all been done, right? The 2 kills perfectly played out here by Nerds. It's traded, but still. How do you work around this GamerLegion on the back foot? Desperately want to at least chain more rounds in a row. You can't just have one and drop all hints of momentum. Mid control, player towards the B site smoke to kind of block off that connector position. Fairly deep smoke as well, which means IAM has the opportunity to sneak himself very deep in this. Hello there, that's a free kill. Not quite able to give another one, but is it enough of a distraction for the rest of them to move towards B? Mighty Max looking at towards Catwalk, and this could be his downfall if he doesn't peek this in time, but it seems to be repositioning now to the safety of the site, in a position where he can closely come together with his teammates in case of a push. Has he spotted out anything just yet? Now he has. That's a no, but that's ahead. But Rusty quickly eliminates him. The B side is theirs. For us, it's a 2-on-2 retake.
The question is whether or not Boros can continue to hit his shots. Rusty has only 10 points of health. It's a very tough spot to be in if you're in his shoes. And Boros already takes down 1. Does he continue to hunt on forward? It's not Boros, it's Surreal to pick it up. And Era will fall. GamerLegion once again succumbing to the forces of Endpoint. Are we going to see map trades here, Pavlos? I'm really feeling like we might.
Yeah, I think there's a really high chance of this, especially with this win. It's a very big possibility. It's not over. 8-4, of course. Kind of expect Endpoint to have some sort of resilience and Mirage. We knew that this map would be fairly close either way. But GamerLegion, their hand is slipping from this game. They're starting to lose control, if they haven't lost it already.
Isaac pushes through the Molotov. Oh, that is a great start for GamerLegion. Now, Crucial wants to respond, but now they've got the bomb back and quickly want to head over to the B site where there will be no members remaining. This rotation cannot be the one that Endpoint wanted to go for. GamerLegion into Underpass. Oh, this could work out beautifully for them.
The thing is that the 2 kills that they found were in 2 very different positions, and they didn't really have plays in place to kind of capitalize on movement, right? The one play they did have, Isaac, to move towards the A site, quickly shut down. So still Endpoint do have control of the sites, and crucially enough, info in mid. Mighty Max very deep on this angle.
It's a very difficult spot to be in if you're GamerLegion, because you're lacking out on a lot of info now. But Mighty Max, having pushed up middle, picks up 1. Now they know where they want to go. They want to back off onto the safety of the B site, but A site has been taken over as well. So it's really anybody's game right now. 40 seconds on the clock. The bomb and its defender separated from each other. It seems like Endpoint are convinced that it's going to be an A-side take, and Zero continuing to pile on the kills means that there's no idea on the side of Endpoint of where this push is going to be. Surreal still thinks it's an A-side play.
Yeah, he's confused. Even if he wants to isolate Zero at this point, he's wondering, wait, why can't I hear the bomb? Oh, right. Okay, wrong side. Okay, well, even if he knew where the bomb was planted, he wanted to make sure that Zero was out of there. So now he needs to see if he can isolate this fight. It seems that Zero is able to escape either way, and Era will know exactly where Cyril will be coming from due to the footsteps handed over. GamerLegion needed this round, and they've gotten it.
I think one of the best things for GamerLegion is that if they end up winning this round, they actually have a pretty they have a I'm not too sure about what I was gonna say because Endpoint they can still have I wanted to talk about their economy, but I think Endpoint have just enough money to buy up, but they'll be lacking out on utility. Hey, GamerLegion, this is your moment. Bring it all together. Endpoint looks super dominant. Now, there is a chance. Bomb left all the way back in middle. Mid-control seems to be the name of the game. Sprawled all across the map. They've got one point man on either side as well, so the extremities will be covered from all pushes. And stylistically, I think Nurse is playing a very different Mirage as to one that we've grown to expect from him. Sort of is straying from the expectations that he's built upon for himself, but now tag teaming with Boros to push through. They know they have to take ramp because Connector, it's been compromised.
GamerLegion opened something up, but what can they make out of it, right? A lot of mid-control. Isolate those players. $4v5. But Endpoint still want to push themselves, get that information. That could be a good relay towards the B-side, but still, even if they want to rotate, they won't be able to do so, which means the players towards the B-side have an extra hard job to defend this one. Challenge from all angles, one to the back end. Mighty Max and Surreal, big task to do here as the rest of the team of Endpoint want to move into this, but Surreal somehow holds on. Mighty Max as well. How are they still winning? How do they still have this ground? Surreal takes it on, and Nuts has got enough time to rotate as well. That is insane. Endpoint seized control of the round, and it's all because of Surreal and Mighty Max onto that B site.
That should have been the round for GamerLegion, because if you look at how they started things off, they had a kill into Connector. Endpoint was completely compromised. They had too much attention on a bomb site that eventually wasn't going to be hit. But GamerLegion, they dropped the ball over towards the B site.
Ooh, okay. Nuts. Quickly taking charge. Rusty wanting to trade it out, but they don't have too much utility on many players, right? It's Zero and Era that have control of that duty, but Rusty no longer in it. 4v3. And Endpoint want to keep that control going their way. GamerLegion don't really have too much to work with here, but Zero at least has opened up that area. Endpoint quick to respond though. They've got this mid position covered from both Catwalk and Short. Well, Connector and Catwalk is the same position.
Yeah, the checkmate here is that Era can't actually help out because he's being watched from CT spawn. Any play that they have to make has to come off of Zero, at least getting the bomb down. Flashbang is perfect, keeps him away long enough for them to get into position. But one nade could ruin everything. Yeah, Era loses the majority of his life. Zero falls victim as well, but they think they've cleared out Firebox, so there's still something Era could do. No. Yeah, the barrel's out. Barrel's been spotted.
Jump about from Ticket Booth. Endpoint double digits at halftime. Now that's more like it for a performance by the British organization.
Double digits, man, and they've done it on GamerLegion's map pick. That is beautiful stuff. And I think somebody just came back home. So if you guys hear a wild duck going crazy, it's just my duck respond. Yeah, it's just my duck reacting to my mom. No, you can't hear it yet, but you will soon. I promise.
Ah, okay. Quack, quack.
It'll happen.
Quack.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
Of course it is. That was totally a duck, man. Come on.
Yeah. All right. New round. New sides. GamerLegion.
And a new headshot.
And a new headshot. Kind of be extended. This game has been curiously kind of slow paced. We haven't seen too many fast approaches, kind of a lot of contact plays going their way, kind of trying to dance around with positioning. A lot of mind games at play. And this pistol will be no different.
Endpoint already having lost the first player. They've got the responsibility of making their way onto the A site. Nerds gets the first one. Isaac tucked into the corner. Boros misses out on a few crucial shots, and that's a nice shot from Isaac. Sets it up nicely for Arab to be able to convert, and Rusty and Era now they've got to deal with Nerds, who gets caught in the side of the head. And GamerLegion, they're off to a stellar start on the CT side.
Very good beginning here for GamerLegion, and that's how you really want to set yourself up, right? In this half, getting that pistol, now close out that gap. It got close. I mean, Endpoint, as soon as they amped up that tempo, they got the first kills. But moving out of jungle like that, finding a two-piece, Isaac with a beautiful flick towards Palace. Chef's kiss. What GamerLegion needed.
IM is going to have so much information because he's playing an underpass. They know where the bomb is, and it's out in the open. GamerLegion can choose to contest it if they'd like to.
Zero actually is aggressing himself. Oh, it's getting dirty. Still delivers. Era somehow survived that fight towards Connector. I love how GamerLegion don't care about this. Even though they've got weapons and should be a little bit more
maybe
cautious.
They should be caring about this.
Yeah, it's not the best outcome because now they've been punished and now weapons can also be collected, which is a different endeavor.
That's one deagle shot away from turning the way of Endpoint. GamerLegion, the only thing they've got going for them is Zero being in a prime position. But with little HP available on Mighty Max, how does he get away with that? He actually takes a bullet to the body and he still gets away with it. Now there's so much responsibility on Isaac to make this work.
Isaac, does he stick towards the A side or does he move across? How does he play this? Instead, turns his attention towards mid and Endpoint. Making their way through apartments.
He needs to be there in time. He needs to get there in time or everything would fall apart with the utility being called.
He's close. He knows. He spotted that one player crossing through, but he needs to be very quick on this. Oh, the timing.
They want to peek together.
Oh, no, the molly! His own molly is where he has to drop. Out into the open. Very low. Isaac needs to be composed here, and he will. Averting a crisis. This round could have gone very wrong.
I started sweating there a little bit. There's no way GamerLegion give up so much control. And you know what? You might think that Isaac bailed them out of something crazy, but he actually didn't. There's no bailing out you can do if you've taken that much damage to your economy. They were supposed to be in this round with barely any damage done. And now Endpoint have a very different prospect or a very different outlook as to what could happen in this round. They've got they've got a Galil and an AK, and that's still very respectable as far as firepower is concerned now that GamerLegion are weakened. Ooh, not a bad start. Endpoint going for mid control and also allowing players to move in from underpass. Slowly but surely, GamerLegion will start to feel suffocated because they're missing out on key info. Boros already peeked into jungle, but he does not get anything off of it.
I am close by here, out into the open. GamerLegion taking full control of this two players close by. Molly though, IM is isolated, needs to move back into safety, but Mighty Max is there with an Oompa Loompa to put him to his grave. The A side is what they want to go for though, and Rusty will be the gatekeeper in jungle. Two players trying to be distracting, and that they will. Era, the only player holding this down now. Swings out, the flash is perfect, but no! Mighty Max still, the weapon I love calling the Oompa Loompa, will prevail. Triple kill for him, now switches up to an M4. No, it's a Galil, and it works out! Endpoint! Bring it back! Quadra for Mighty Max, and Endpoint getting their way back in.
You can see that Mighty Max is carrying like a madman right now. 21 kills for him. It's not really a position we see Mighty Max in too often, simply because that's not his job, right? But when he does that, it elevates his entire team to the next level. GamerLegion, they've got to be sweating right now. You're on the CT side. You played it so carelessly in the second round that it's come back to bite you. Desert Eagles all across the board. The loss bonus definitely won't allow them to buy up in the next one either. Endpoint have almost guaranteed 13 rounds as long as they can play their cards right.
Oh, GamerLegion have put themselves in a very difficult spot here. I mean, truth be told, the pressure's all on Endpoint to kind of bring us to a third map, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the recovery is excellent.
Oh.
Rusty!
Oh, okay.
How is that even possible?
And there's sets of Kevlar as well, and Isaac is playing up so close and personal.
Oh, but he's actually going to pick it himself.
Make this deadly.
Chills on the sofa. Boros, oh, the crouch pick is what saves his life. And now somehow they've got away in. Error. Close by. May drops, lobbed into him. Recovers the crossfire set up onto Boros. And now it's all by himself. Nerds is able to recover, but Endpoint gets damaged up. Lose 3 players against the Eco.
The issue is that they can't actually convert off of the economical damage that they did. It's not like they can win the next round and start steamrolling them into having ecos. No. Instead, GamerLegion, they themselves have to go for an eco of their own, and this allows Endpoint to start feeling comfortable. They sit on their throne of money while GamerLegion look for scraps to purchase in the next round. Endpoint want to go for something much faster here, mid-control with only 1 player, and an additional player to allow for supportive utility, but right now, Crucial will feel a little overwhelmed as the peek from Underpass starts to come in.
Oh.
Yeah, not really much you can do off of that.
It's getting scary, man. The odds are also getting closer. Now it's actually been flipped on its head. There's a heavy belief by Pinnacle right now that if Endpoint win this map, they can close out the entire thing.
I'm not even sure what I'm watching right now, Pavlos. GamerLegion looking much sloppier on their own map pick than they were on their opponents. I mean, Vertigo looked near impeccable. It seemed like there were barely any mistakes being made, but now it's an entirely different story.
Squeaky clean. Like Vertigo was a very surprising result, right? And the way they were able to retrieve that result was quite a spectacle.
Speaking of achieving results in an unorthodox way, I am. Sprays wildly through the smoke and he's able to find one. Endpoint want to take this through from middle and underpass. So the majority of Endpoint's game plan on the T side has really been pivoting around middle, and they always really like to do this initially where they then play off of the mid-round call unless they can get unless they can get a pick-off. But they've consistently been able to get a pick-off long enough where they don't have to retaliate onto a bomb site.
Error. And I am both looking problematic here in apartments. I am, you sneaky man. Not spotted. Here's the movement. Here's one. Oh, not the second, but that's the information needed. There's the bomb. It's being called. But not that GamerLegion need to do anything about this, but they do. And Mighty Max picks up a freebie. This is doable. A 3v2 is very doable.
And they can't take the risk anymore. They've got to close it out right now. 13-8 would still be a lot more palatable. 19 seconds on the clock. Endpoint, they have to be desperate.
Isaac, what you do here? Allowing them to walk in. Not showing his ground just yet. There's a head. Wants the second one. Smoke ahead. 5 seconds. No time to plant. Rusty is also there for reassistance. Very, very nicely done. GamerLegion. They needed that so much. And all off of the back of I'm getting that first free kill through the smoke. The thing is, if they don't get those early kills, if they don't get that early pressure, that's where they falter.
So that's something that I mentioned a little earlier. It's that Endpoint significantly rely on their initial picks to end up working out for them. Because if they don't, they sort of default to this mid-rounding. Which, oh, I'm going to have to hold that thought. Oh, Era's got to be overwhelmed here. Nothing he can do about it.
They won't do that much. You need a smoke intuition again to deliver. Expecting Mighty Max to push up aggressively, falling back from it, but reloading. Mighty Max is so close, he can literally smell him. He's going for it. The flash comes through, but no. It's a one-sided peek, and now Zero is able to frag it back out. From mid as well, Crucial, confident to peek through, will fall victim to the play-in window. Isaac, though, next player to be challenged. Surreal wants this, but it will not be given permission to do anything. Ninth round is surely going to be handed over to GamerLegion right now as it's Nertz all by himself.
Are we really in the spot where we start seeing GamerLegion go for a little bit of a comeback? As long as they can keep all three players alive, they have a chance to start building up their bank. And on the other hand, Endpoint, they're losing out on their money. They've won consistently enough that their loss bonus is basically destroyed.
You know what? I mean, Endpoint also got the mounted pressure where they're down a map, right? Losing this is their end of the journey.
End
Pinnacle
point?
Montessori's is the end point of their journey. Nuts. Keeping it close. 15 seconds. Yeah, can't really work around with this. Can't do a little bit of damage.
They should just be backing off right now. You don't want to lose your weaponry.
Yeah, you can't really, because look at their economy as well. It's not great at all.
Yeah, so heading into the next round, Endpoint have a Nertz on the AK-47, so they still have the hero AK to play around. And you know they can be incredibly deadly on the Desert Eagles. So it's not like they're not even going to be fighting back at all. It's mostly just that GamerLegion should be able to hit a stride, at least make it to double digits, maybe add a couple rounds in surplus on top of that. Man, if you look at the scoreboard, Pavlos, 28 kills for Mighty Max. He is compensating for any mistakes that the roster might be doing, you know? He is legitimately leading by example.
And GamerLegion is switching up the pace as well, not allowing anyone to get any comfort into this game so far, but it seems that Nertz has got different ideas. The hero AK-47 into his hands seems to have worked out so far. Rusty needs to buy time for his teammates to arrive as well, and that he will. Sidesteps to the smoke, and I am out into the open. Gets one free kill before the rest of them can follow. Mighty Max into Sandwich, the rest of them will follow.
I love that.
Triple kill lineup there from GamerLegion on double digits and 3 away from Endpoint score.
I'm not sure if it was Rusty or Isaac on the side that was holding down for dear life, but regardless of who it was, that was just such an incredible job being done, just holding it out for the longest time. That I am only got a chance to operate there. He's have that delay going forward. They've only got Isaac pushed up close. Oh no, he's going to take a bit of a scratch before he gets a chance to go out. No, he's not bailed. And it's down to Rusty to pick up the scraps.
Ooh, a lot of damage all across the board there. Endpoint seem to be falling very, very quickly. Nade towards Nertz. Bada bim, bada boom. Nertz to the ground.
Very impressive stuff. GamerLegion, they're not falling as convincingly as Endpoint did. We are going to be going through a technical pause. So in the meantime, guys, make sure you go ahead and check out our partners over at SkinBaron. tb.gg/SkinBaron is the place to be. And all those voucher codes you're seeing being thrown onto the screen, make sure you go ahead on SkinBaron and type that quickly, because first it's a first come first serve basis. On your first purchase, you can get that amount off of your deal, and it's been anywhere from €2 to €10. We've been seeing codes dropping all across the stream. Make sure to capitalize on that offer.
Bye round. Both teams starting to feel the pressure. Stakes are high. Time crossover. The catwalk, but won't be able to connect in time. Boros entries. And now they've got full rain over mid.
It's a matter of time. If the Palace player pushes first, they at least have a small advantage that they can play off of. Zero now knows.
Oh, they needed that.
Yeah, mid control's not really present for GamerLegion, though, which is why they're lacking out on so much information. They've got to double up on these two players, Arrow and Isaac. They've got so much to deal with.
So much to do here. So much responsibility lies with two players. Gonna buy enough time for the rest to come as well. Zero quickly enough. The rest of GamerLegion need to put pressure onto the back line, but Rusty just simply won't be there in time. The two defenders of A are down. Mighty Max could die. That happens. 2 versus 2. Check your left corner. Crucial with AWP. Doesn't miss the first shot. But Surreal is there to collect the pieces. Isaac is coming in too late. I'm afraid the fights just don't happen in the right succession here for GamerLegion. And Crucial doesn't miss twice. Nade towards him. Touch onto the bomb. Swing from Crucial. And as I said, he won't miss twice. He gets the kill. Endpoint on 14.
That was so close for GamerLegion, but just missing out on mid information means that they succumb eventually to the connector pressure. I think partially the Palace players also got a little desperate to take part in the duel that was going on the A side, just to not give up too much control, and that's basically what gave Endpoint the opening. So it's a bit of a paradox. Into middle they go. Era playing it up close, trying to proactively take that duel, but Crucial will not allow that. Endpoint back to hitting their stride, I think.
Absolutely. They were a bit absent for a few rounds. Gave GamerLegion a chance, some hope. But it seems they're in a good spot to close out this game and take us to a third. I mean, that relieves a lot of pressure off of them, right? As far as I'm concerned, Ancient seems to be somewhere where they'll be quite comfortable on.
Yeah, if anything, I think it was much more important for GamerLegion to close it out 2-0 than it was for Endpoint. So dropping their first map isn't the worst thing in the world as long as they can close this one out. AXX seems to be the name of the game.
Zero and Sandwich close by, not quite checked. Walking by, that's going to be a free
Oh,
kill.
he's good for 2.
Oh, there you have it. IM and Zero collaborate on this effort. A very desperate round falls their way, incendiary the flames. Zero puts him out of his misery before he gets burnt to a crisp. 12-14. GamerLegion putting a leash on Endpoint and not letting them run away with it that quickly.
Oh, you can see the odds shifting back in their favor. You've gotta respect how much of a hustle they've been putting up on the server. And with Mighty Max quieting down a little bit, they've got a shot at maybe bringing overtime or even closing it out outright. And the one thing you've got to direct your attention to is how little money Endpoint have remaining. They've got to give up this round unless GamerLegion drop the ball. And there's already some damage being exchanged before the replay was over, so I didn't get a chance to see that, but it was Era around middle. At Endpoint, what can you do with these Desert Eagles? You've got a couple P250s thrown in the mix. Oof. Nice shot from Zero.
Spicy. Thing is, we've seen GamerLegion misstep before, right? We've seen them lose a favored round for them. Or at least tying it very close due to the fact of them overstaying their welcome. They need to be cautious that doesn't happen again, because there's not much margin for error at this point anymore. But it's as flawless as it could be. No one falls. GamerLegion 13-14, 1 round for that equalizer, but Endpoint now have a bye.
This is it. This is the hill they've got to cross over. But this could also be the hill they choose to die on. If GamerLegion can't pick this one up, they still have a shot, of course, to bring it to overtime. And they close this out. Endpoint actually won't have any money to fight. Oh, that's Thunderpack.
No, 2. Oh, 3, no. I just can't count. Okay. Surreal. He's got the info. How do they deal with it? So
there's
Zero
just
pushes
so
through
much.
apartments and give them the space that they need. Now they need to fight for mid, though. Damage onto Crucial, but he's still able to find a kill. Already looking to stabilize. Rusty. Just thinking about it, but no. Walks back from it. They've traded equally so far. Now they need to stabilize.
GamerLegion definitely put the fear of God in Endpoint's hearts when they did that B play. They had 3 players that are contesting an underpass.
And
while
look
there's
for us now. Like, they're scared to enter apartments.
Yeah, and because there was a 4th player actually contesting it, right? And that's how they got a kill. So getting back into apartments, that's gotta take a heart of iron. But they still continue to do it. Endpoint, they quickly realize that underpass has been cleared over. Apartments can be something that they take over. But with Zero being available on the bomb site and a Molotov also being in his pockets, as long as he can get the information right, he should be able to delay it long enough.
Oh, Zero. 1-man army here. GamerLegion are hoping for you. That incendiary could be huge, but they could be walking right past it. There goes one. That's the headshot. That's the bomb. That's the call in as well for Zero. It's good to do it all by himself. The 1-man army. GamerLegion are probably just giving him his fist bumps already because this round is over for Endpoint. We'll be looking at an equalizer. IM for good remorse takes down Mighty Max. 14-all on both ends. GamerLegion haven't given up just yet.
You're talking about this round being the one that brings it to the equalizer, but I think this was the round that broke the camel's back. There's no money available on Endpoint. What are they even going to do about the situation? Sure, they've shown us signs of promise on pistols, but time and time again, you can't expect to replicate that, especially with GamerLegion now bolstering their defenses, being wary of any shenanigans that Endpoint might want to bring to the table. With the way these players are positioned, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a straight up ramp push with just one player being available on mid. Max.
Uh-oh.
He's just biding time. He's waiting for his... he's causing a distraction so his teammates can push through.
Oh, lobbing the
That's
nade.
A nice nade.
Just in the middle of the air there. The center of mid, now Nuts, looking to bring things back. Dink got the 0 as well, very low, but IM is here to stop them in their tracks. Shot down, Endpoint, settled in bed. GamerLegion are now on map point, series point, 1 round away from qualifying to the quarters.
Now it's your chance to shine. Crucial's got to hit his shots. I think Mighty Max and Boros have done their part of the deal, but Nerds, Surreal, Crucial, they've really been absent from the server. If there's any time for the AWP to shine, this is it. If you want to make your qualifications to the playoffs, this one round could change everything. To the quarterfinals, rather. Oh, that's already the first kill. IM, he continues to deliver, and there's another AWP ready to inflict damage.
Oh, the pace is just setting in for GamerLegion right now. Endpoint, they're on a streak. I wouldn't be surprised if they were brought a timeout, but they did not. I'm not quite sure if they used them all. I don't think they did.
It's just a matter of time, Pavlos, with Crucial low, Boros, their biggest X factor out of the equation. Mighty Max not really being present on the server for the past 5 or so rounds. I'm not sure who needs to step up.
Oh, IM has been spotted. Crucial will just stick his crosshair there until he peeks through. That's the leg. Oh, doesn't connect it though. It's just a simple trade. And with GamerLegion ahead, they don't mind that whatsoever. So with a chance, that's going to be 1 kill, spreading out Isaac. But Isaac is there to deliver, so is Error. They've all done what was necessary. 1 minute in the clock remaining. With Mighty Max, you need to step up. 1 against 3. The dream to keep your team alive and go to OT for a chance to see Ancient and a 3rd deciding map.
A chance for Mighty Max to lead by example, but Arrow will be stifling the competition. 16-14, GamerLegion. They're going to prove exactly why they picked Mirage, and they shut down Endpoint. 2-0, not a single map being delivered by Endpoint.
Such a close endeavor, and Mirage Endpoint seemed grasp of it on that second half, but they just came alive. GamerLegion just were able to say the right things in comms, were able to get back into the game and have a grasp of how Endpoint started to play. I mean, it took a while, but they took control, and that's what was necessary, which means GamerLegion will be playing tomorrow against Copenhagen Flames in the quarterfinals.
I think so much of Endpoint's success initially was coming off of Mighty Max and Boros just being a different breed on the server. But as soon as those win conditions started to stop working out, it all fell apart. You had a lot of responsibility on Crucial to hit those shots. He simply didn't. Nerds, one of the characteristic things that is really notable about him, that wasn't available on the server either. He's not going for any nasty pushes, never really catching the opposition off guard. In fact, GamerLegion, that I would have maybe thought would be a little bit more static, they ended up going for some really unorthodox plays, like we saw that 4-man underpass push. So, all of that combined with just the talent available on GamerLegion and an Endpoint not really showing up, it ends up in a victory.
It does indeed. It does indeed. I'd love to see the bracket when it's ready before we head into the next matchup, but it's been a really interesting ride today, right? We saw already SKADE take down Wisla Krakow in a 2-0 fashion, a very determined one as well. We saw a back and forth in that way, but SKADE, the Bulgarians, take over the polls and knock them out. And then we have the same situation happening over again with a 2-0 victory from GamerLegion. Now, there's a reason, I guess, that Heaton had his faith in these guys, you know? There's a reason, and they look stronger by the day. Yes, they have pitfalls. Yes, they make some mistakes here and there, and they're not as perfect as they could be, but they're getting there, right? We're starting to see some more depth in this game, in their gameplay, no longer that one-dimensional, and that is showing with their results. Now, the next task won't be easy, right? We're talking about Copenhagen Flames for the next opponent. That's going to be a big road ahead, you know, to make it further. It's a difficult opponent. We saw Dignitas and SKADE, also a confirmed matchup for the quarters. But it seems that there's 2 more matches to be played out, right? We're talking about Mazanexi and Agentium batting it out to see if they can play against Ecstatic, and Apex versus Eternal of Fire with a potential heroic Danish super roster to play up against them. So quarterfinals look stacked.
They absolutely do, and man, I mean, the GamerLegion, if they can continue to show signs of life like they did today, winning out on their opponent's map pick, winning out on their own, and really enabling all of their players to go for super unorthodox pushes that end up working out for them, and just enabling their stars, this is a team that is destined to shine.
Amazing stuff, really. A very important matchup has come underway. Endpoint, unfortunately, are no more, but maybe next time, maybe in the next tournament. But ladies and gents, the next matchup up next is going to be Mouse NXT versus Agentium, so make sure you stay tuned. We'll be back after a break. Not quite sure how long that will be, but have that tab open nonetheless. We'll be right back.
That's winter10 at extrafi.com, and you can get 10% off at all items. The first item I want to be reviewing is the M4 Wireless, listed as the ultralight gaming mouse, ideal for everyone, and I can completely agree. This mouse feels amazing. Pads on the bottom feel really good for moving your mouse, and on top of that as well, 2 side buttons. As I said, it's a very light mouse, ergonomically it's sound, it fits into my hand like a glove. Yeah, high recommendation for this one. If you haven't already got one, this is one that I'd be recommending. Personally, they've already convinced me to switch out my old mouse for this one. The mouse does the talking. Seriously, when you get this for the value, I think this is a super worthwhile product. Next item on the reel is the H1 Pro gaming headset. For me, this has to be a big sell. Obviously, as a commentator, I need a headset that feels good, that sounds good, that overall does its job plus some. And I can completely agree why they call this a pro gaming headset. Maybe not for the broadcast level, however, it is a huge sell if you're a casual or a competitive gamer. This headset feels amazing. To be surprised, it's quite lightweight for a headset. On top of that as well, the mic quality is quite clean, and the way it feels on your head is amazing as well. So 100%, I think this checks all the boxes if you're a casual or competitive gamer. One I think competes on the market quite nicely, considering I've used other branded headsets in the past. This one actually is ranked quite highly for me on a personal level. I would recommend this headset. The K4 RGB TKL, the compact mechanical gaming keyboard. This is something I'm already replacing in their setup. The feel of the keyboard is amazing. Being a smaller keyboard as well, I was a little unsure heading into it, but it does feel very nice to use. The keycaps feel good, the switches feel good. Overall, this is an amazing product. I would highly recommend this one. And yeah, 100% something I'd be looking to use permanently in my setup just because it just is so feel good. The last 2 items I want to talk about is the B4 Retro Edition mouse bungee and the GP4 Premium Cloth Gaming mouse pad. Personally for me, the mouse bungee isn't the one for me. I've never been used to using a mouse bungee, but now I've gone wireless. There's no particular need. I'm always charging my mouse, you know, when I'm downstairs, in the kitchen, you know, maybe watching YouTube or something. Really easy to charge and good to go. So for me, the mouse bungee isn't particularly something I need to use when gaming. And on the flip side of things as well, the mouse pads don't particularly is one for me as well. Just because I use such low sensitivities when I play games, the mouse mat isn't big enough for me. Having said that, it is exactly what it says in the tin. The premium cloth is a big sell point for me. The underside feels very nice. It's very, very good on the top as well. Yeah, overall, really, really nice mouse mat. Highly recommend. But for me personally, not exactly one that I'm going to be using just because I need a bigger mouse mat. And that's about it. For me personally, the mouse is the best sell point. I wouldn't say the one that's the worst, but for me personally, the applicability would be the mouse mat. As I said earlier, I just need a bigger mouse mat, and if Extrafly did any bigger, I think I'd be picking one up of that size because they do feel really good. But yeah, just not for me. Mouse bungee as well. Keyboard, the mouse, and the headset all feel pretty good to me. You know, I'm already using the keyboard and the mouse. The headset I'm using just for casual gaming now. Overall, highly recommend those products. And if you forgot from the start, if you are watching, make sure to head over to extrafly.com. If you want to pick up anything on the website, you can use code WINTER10 and get 10% off on checkout. But that's it, guys. Enjoy the game. I've been Retro. This has been Extrafly, and we'll see you on the stream. Until then, bye-bye.
Yeah.